Sarah had been searching for months. Rent was rising everywhere, and she was tired of tiny apartments with thin walls and noisy neighbors. That's when she found the listing. A small, two-bedroom house on Willow Lane, tucked away in a quiet corner of town. It was old, yes, but it was within her budget and looked charming in the photos. When she first saw it in person, the house looked different. The paint was chipped, the windows dusty, and the yard overgrown with weeds. But something about it drew her in. She felt like it was waiting for her. The landlord, a thin, older man with watery eyes, handed her the keys. He seemed eager, too eager, almost relieved. When Sarah asked why the rent was so low, he shrugged. It's been empty for a while. Not many people want a place this old. You'll do fine here. She didn't think much of it. She was just happy to finally have a house of her own. The first week went smoothly. She unpacked, set up furniture, and started decorating. The house creaked at night, but old houses always do. The air smelled faintly of mildew, but a few candles helped. She convinced herself it was perfect. But small things started to bother her. The hallway closet door never stayed shut. She'd close it before bed, and in the morning, it would be open again. She assumed it was the latch, until one night she heard it creak open while she was still awake. She told herself it was just the draft. Another time, she woke up at 3 a.m. to the sound of footsteps overhead. Slow, heavy. She froze in bed, heart pounding. The house didn't have an upstairs, just an attic. She whispered to herself, "It's just the wood settling, just the house breathing." But she couldn't shake the feeling that someone else was there. Days passed. Sarah tried to ignore the strange happenings, but they grew harder to dismiss. She started finding odd things. One morning, while sweeping under the couch, the broom pushed out a small child's shoe. Worn, old, not hers. She stared at it for a long time before shoving it into a bag and throwing it away. In the bathroom, tucked behind the mirror, she found a folded piece of paper, a drawing, crayon, scribbles of a stick figure family. A man, a woman, a little girl, all holding hands in front of a house. Her house. The faces of the woman and child were scratched out violently. Her hands trembled as she shoved it into the trash. That night, as she lay in bed, she heard it. A voice, whispering, so soft she thought it was her imagination at first. But then it grew clearer. Sarah, her name, spoken from the dark hallway outside her room. She didn't move, didn't breathe. She pulled the covers to her chin, shut her eyes, and waited for morning. By the third week, Sarah couldn't deny it anymore. Something was wrong with the house. The air grew colder at night, no matter how high she turned up the heat. Shadows seemed to stretch too far, lingering where they shouldn't. One rainy afternoon, while exploring the hallway, Sarah noticed a door she hadn't paid attention to before. It blended into the wall, painted the same dull beige, with a rusted handle. When she tried it, it didn't budge. Locked tight. When the landlord came by to collect rent, she asked about it. His face stiffened. His eyes darted away. "That room's for storage. Don't worry about it," she pressed. "What's in there?" He snapped, sharper than before. "I told you it's storage. Leave it alone." Then, softening his tone, he added, "Old houses have secrets. Best not to dig too deep." The words chilled her. That night, Sarah dreamed of the door. She dreamed she heard knocking from the other side. Slow, rhythmic, 3 knocks, then silence. When she woke up, her heart racing, the sound was still there. Knock, knock, knock. She stared down the hallway at the locked door. The noise came from behind it. Sarah avoided the hallway after that, but the house didn't let her forget. She started hearing things from the walls. Scratching, shuffling, muffled crying. She smelled damp earth and something metallic, like rust or blood. One evening, the power went out. She lit a candle and tried to stay calm. But in the flickering light, she saw movement. A figure standing at the end of the hallway, pale. Still, watching her. She blinked, and it was gone. Shaking, she turned back toward the candle, only to find the flame had blown out. She sat in the darkness, clutching her phone, too afraid to move. The final straw came on a stormy night. Rain lashed against the windows. Thunder rattled the glass. Sarah curled on the couch, trying to read to distract herself. A crash shook the house. She jumped, heart in her throat. Slowly, she realized it came from the hallway, the locked door. She crept closer, her phone flashlight trembling in her hand. The door stood wide open. Her stomach turned. Inside was a small, windowless room. The wallpaper was peeling, the floor stained dark in places. And in the middle of the floor, half hidden under a rug, was a trapdoor. The air was cold, damp. Her light flickered, and for an instant she saw someone crouched in the corner. A man, gaunt and pale, his eyes sunken, his mouth stretched into an unnatural grin. She screamed and stumbled back, slamming the door shut. The next morning, Sarah called the landlord, demanding answers. His voice was flat, resigned. "I didn't want to tell you," he said. "The last tenant. He lived there alone after his wife and daughter died. Neighbors said he changed. They said he went mad. One night, he disappeared. Police never found him, just his belongings. I locked the room and left it. Thought it was safer that way." Sarah's voice shook, but I saw him. Last night, he was there. The landlord didn't respond for a long time. Finally, he whispered. Then, he never left. Sarah moved out the next day, leaving half her belongings behind. She didn't care. She just needed to escape. But sometimes, late at night in her new apartment, she swears she hears it again.